Hey, I'm Erica Zeal, and today I'm going to teach you some pelvic floor exercises that are really key for helping you learn how to optimally strengthen your deep core. This is important whether you are currently pregnant, you just had a baby, you've never had a baby. This information is so key because it's really important that we learn at any age how to effectively strengthen our pelvic floor. Okay, so today I'm on an exercise ball. You don't have to do this on an exercise ball, but I highly recommend trying it if you do have one. If you don't, you could grab a chair at home and put a pillow on top, because by sitting on a ball, it gives you some really good tactile feedback for your pelvic floor. So that's why it's so good. And you just wanna make sure that you're not super hinged. You don't want the ball to be super low on you, and you also don't wanna be up too high, okay? So when we first practice, I want you to just do a couple. You could kind of like tilt your pelvis forward and back and kind of wiggle around so you can start to feel your pelvic floor and start to feel what's called your sits bones, those bony part underneath your butt. Even if you don't think they're there, they are, I promise you, because we want to make sure we're not just tucked and just sinking down like this, because this actually puts pressure on our pelvic floor. So we want to think about lightly lifting and lengthening upward. And believe it or not, learning some key pelvic floor exercises really can help you to strengthen your abdominals, okay? So when we sit up nice and tall, feet just grounded into the floor, I want you to visualize like we're trying to lift and lengthen and grow taller. And a great thing that can really help you when trying to find your pelvic floor is to think about breathing and maybe even close your eyes. And I want you to breathe through your nose, visualizing your breath going all the way down into your low back, into the sides of your ribs, and even all the way down into your pelvis. And I know we don't actually breathe all the way down into our pelvis, but when we can visualize and we connect that our breath helps the tissue to respond all the way down into our pelvis, it helps to release tension in our hips. It's also why it's important that you're not sitting too low on a ball or on a chair. Okay, so when you breathe deep, I want you to visualize your breath going into the sides of your ribs, into your lower back, all the way down into your hips, even into your belly and way into your pelvis. So our first step here is to think about relaxing. We're not pushing into our pelvic floor at all. We're just visualizing things opening and expanding and releasing, because many of us tend to want to grip and over contract different muscles, and that can lead to imbalances through the body as well as imbalances in our pelvic floor, which could lead to incontinence and pelvic floor dysfunction and all of these things, which are preventable, which is why I'm here to teach you this. So our first step is you're learning to release and relax. Then we're gonna work on lightly connecting. And by sitting on a ball, you get some good tactile feedback of your pelvic floor. So I want you, as you exhale, to visualize your pelvic floor, this diamond at the base right here, right? That's resting on top of the ball. We're gonna visualize that diamond right here at the base, right? Down here, lightly coming together and then pulling lightly all the way up through the top of the head. Yes, that's more than just activating your pelvic floor. We're gonna work on connecting this entire fascial line, okay? Because our pelvic floor, well, yes, we can strengthen it individually. You can think of it as Kegels, but I want you to reframe your thought of Kegels as doing what we're doing right here today, okay? So this is way more effective when we start thinking of our pelvic floor, this diamond, okay? When we inhale, we're gonna just visualize everything kind of releasing and opening. As we exhale, we wanna lightly draw that diamond together, pick it up, almost visualize maybe like you wanna lightly pick up like a marble or a towel all the way from the base of the pelvis through the top of the head. And you should start to feel a little bit taller. And the more you practice this, the stronger your pelvic floor will get, the stronger your abdominals will get, and the more space we're gonna create for our spine so we can say bye-bye to back pain and all of that kind of stuff. Plus it can create more balance through your entire body. Okay, so that's a lot of talking and explaining, and I wanna piece it together for you here, okay? So on your inhale, I want you to just breathe through your nose and visualize everything opening and expanding all the way down into your hips, into your pelvis. No pressure downward, we're just thinking width here. Breathing wide As you exhale, you want to start to lightly draw that diamond together, very lightly, and then upward. Visualize that line all the way through the top of the head. And I want you to hold that while you continue to inhale. So we can just hold it for 5, 10 seconds, and you're breathing normally, okay? But you're gonna feel a light support on the underside of your pelvis. That pelvic floor is lightly engaged, and you feel maybe a little bit in the lower abdominals, and you feel this just nice lift through your torso, but you're able to still breathe wide, okay? And then do it again. You're just gonna inhale, let your pelvic floor release and relax. And initially when you begin this, it's very normal that you may not feel anything at all. It's completely normal, but you have to start somewhere. So starting where you're at today is the best place. And visualizing those cues that I'm telling you, because that's the best first step. So even if you don't feel what I'm saying, start to visualize, connecting your mind with what should be happening. And maybe you feel one side of the pelvic floor better than the other side. That's not uncommon. Just because one side's working doesn't mean the other one has to follow along. They do work somewhat together, but also independently of each other, okay? So as we work through this and you practice this, we practice releasing and relaxing initially, because I find that that helps a lot of my women and my clients to be able to find those deeper layers, because if you tend to grip, by releasing and then reconnecting, you're getting deeper and deeper. So just starting to practice this, and again, you can think of this as your Kegel practice. You can do these when you're driving, you can do these standing. If you're pregnant, it's the best time to learn how to do these, because you have a baby inside your belly to start to connect. And we're never drawing belly to spine, right? Because that draws our pelvis. To see what I did there? If I think belly to spine, the pelvis does this, and that puts our pressure outward. So in order to properly effectively strengthen our pelvic floor, we need to lift and lengthen, but it's a light connection, right? I mentioned gripping. We don't want to just like grip our pelvic floor, because that could lead to things we don't want with our pelvic floor. So it's this fine finesse of being able to release and relax, but also connect through our pelvic floor, and always lightly having a little bit of a connection through those deeper layers of our core when we're moving throughout our day, when we're carrying, a baby or whatever it might be, when we're exercising especially, because if we ever feel pressure pushing downward on our pelvic floor, you're experiencing incontinence, back pain, all those types of things, that can indicate that something you're doing, an exercise, a movement, is too stressful for your body. So when we take a step back and we really work on our foundational movement, which a lot of it comes back to how are we strengthening our deep core, and specifically what role does our pelvic floor play in our deep core. And all of that I teach through my core rehab program, and for my pregnant mamas, it's all inside my prenatal membership. I break it down for you and I teach you these specifics, even more than what we talked about today. This is awesome fundamental movements, plays a key role, but then I actually teach you also how to apply it to different movements. And there's some that you've probably done before, but you've never done them to the deep degree that I teach you. So you can check all that out at ericazeal.com. If you have other questions, don't hesitate, reach out to me on Instagram at ericazeal, and I'll see you next time.